Hey folks, how's it going? Hold on, let me turn down my game volume real quick. Welcome to trying to debunk Christianity. Personally, I'm a Christian, but I like to be open to views. I've listened to enough apologetics content, I've listened to enough atheism content to know what I'm talking about. So, the all-time best arguments against religion. I cannot wait to see what this hyper-atheistic thing has to say. If you guys have any arguments against religion, I will be compiling them and trying to dispute them. Though my point isn't to prove God, it's to reach across the aisle and show that each side has nuance and each side is extremely different and has some really good points. So, let's get into this video.
I'll just ask our audience a question first of all. If you'd raise your hands. How many of you believe in God? Okay, a forest of hands. So, Richard Dawkins, these people are deluded. Every single one of them.
Wow, really humble framework of belief.
Well, I fear that's right, yes.
We love Richard Dawkins.
It's rather like the phenomenon of the imaginary friend.
No, the phenomenon of the imaginary friend is created in, it's a psychological thing that kids create through their overactive imagination and applying it to the real world. I don't know everything about imaginary friends. I don't know everything about psychology. I'm not a super genius. I'm sure somebody can correct me on that. But it's got nothing to do with that. And also, 4 billion people believe in Christianity, so that's just bullshit. Thanks for the hyperbole, though.
That children have, and that comfort them and console them.
Yeah, if you're actually Christian and you know the Bible, it's not comfortable at all.
There's actually not the slightest shred of evidence.
The second law of thermodynamics.
That any kind of supernatural being exists. So I'm sorry
The second law of thermodynamics.
to say deluded, yes.
Not deluded.
Deluded. How can so many people be wrong?
We aren't.
Well, there was a time when everybody believed that the world was flat. There was a time when everybody...
Yeah, you know, what's actually funny about that? In the Hebrew Bible, the circle of the earth actually depicts a round object because they didn't have a word for ball. It's not actually talking about a circle or the earth being flat, so yeah, cool. Nice conflation, I guess, though.
They believed that the sun whizzed round the earth. People are very, very frequently deluded. And by the way...
It's not delusion. It's just misconception.
Of course, there was a time when people believed in Zeus and Apollo, and in other parts of the world they believed in Thor and Wotan.
Okay, well, just because people believed in a celestial being that likely doesn't exist or has been debunked doesn't mean all celestial beings don't exist and have been debunked. I don't know how people can watch shit like this.
People have believed in fairies and leprechauns.
My same statement.
Everybody in this room, I would guess, knows what it's like not to believe in the god of some other religion. You know that if you happen to be born in the Middle East, you'll probably be Muslim.
Okay, cool. Can I ask something, though? What the fuck does this have to do with religion?
And people who are born in the Middle East believe equally fervently in their god. They can't both be right. There are so many different gods that people have...
Oh my gosh! That's not true! That's not contradictive! Two things can be true at once. There can be multiple spiritual beings. I fucking hate this argument, bro. Just because Muslims believe in Allah and Christians believe in Yahweh doesn't mean one or the other has to be true. Therefore, neither are true. That's a fucking ridiculous premise. That premise is like actually schizophrenic. Oh my gosh, that's so stupid. That is so intellectually dishonest to say something like that. That's like saying because black holes distort space-time, space and time both are not real.
Believed in throughout history.
So what people believe is really an accident of geography.
You fucking...
Exactly right, yes.
Friedrich Nietzsche famously said that God was dead.
Out of context! Friedrich Nietzsche warned against nihilism! You fucking tard! Bro. There is not an atheist in the world, not one, that can explain the second law of thermodynamics and how that applies to the creation of the universe as we go towards entropy. Not a single one. On top of the fact that we might have come to exist, which is extremely low, the specific size of our universe at the point of our existence, the amount of conditions that needed to be correct in order for our universe to come to exist. Not one atheist can explain that. God says, we as Christians say that the things that we cannot explain do not specifically have to be filled in with God, but it is reasonable to presume the things that are impossible to explain are from God. That is a simple fucking concept, okay? It's not that hard to understand. It's not a God of the gaps argument. Where science fails, something has to fill it. That's God of the gaps. Science is the tool that God uses to create the universe. Just because we cannot find the science to explain a being that uses science does not mean that that lack of scientific consensus disproves the existence of the being that actively used the sciences that we currently use. It's like a termite believing that humans don't exist because they live inside the world, they live inside of a world, and they haven't seen a human.
And Sigmund Freud can be rendered as having said that God was dad. And I think both of them are probably right. The concept of God is like everything else in our vocabulary, man-made. It's an invention of human beings.
The concept of God is an innate natural process that human beings have when they see things that they cannot explain. That is built into us. You can't... I get really passionate when I'm talking about this type of thing because it's all built on ignorance. All of this. Every single thing about this has been nothing but just lack of reason, lack of context, lack of understanding. No. We are trying to disprove God, you guys, and we have not gotten any leeway. No argument has succeeded. Kind of nervous, I'm not gonna lie.
Unless you take the view that God made us, in which case it'd be a lot to explain. Why did we in that case make so many gods?
Well, that's a natural process that humans use to explain parts of a whole that they can't understand. It's called compartmentalization, and then applying that to divine beings. So, yeah.
It does seem to be very much more probable that men and women made many gods than that any one God made all men and women and the rest of creation.
That's not wrong, but not fully accurate.
Fear made. It is the unexpressed.
Okay, the Christian God is made as love and justice and liberty. It is not made around fear. Let's see, what's a good example? Allah, I believe, was made around fear. Who else? Jehovah is made on fear. The God that the Mormons worship is made around fear. Jehovah and Yahweh are not the same thing, okay? Just so you know. Jehovah's Witnesses believe that 122,000 are going to heaven and everybody else is just, you're fucked, right? So
still partially expressed.
That's wrong.
For a protector, a parent, someone who will never desert you, someone who will do in a way you're thinking for you, especially on questions of moral philosophy. At its best, it's that. It's a wish to be loved more than you probably deserve.
Not incorrect.
And at its worst, it's the underdeveloped part of the human psyche that leads to totalitarianism.
Okay, no, that's not true entirely. It is the willingness for people to exact their free will under a government that has no exemplification of liberty, like no example of liberty, no standing stone of liberty, that causes totalitarianism, okay? That's not true.
It wants to work.
I'll say this, atheism has killed way more people than Christianity has, and a true Christian government has killed 0.
And that wants a boss, that wants a celestial dictatorship. And that's the bit that's now threatening to destroy our secular civilization. And so...
Sorry, secular, that means atheist, right? Denoting attitudes, activities, or other things that have no religious or spiritual basis. I'm sorry, you know our entire... We are not a secular civilization, right? America, specifically, America is not secular. Humanity entirely isn't secular. If we were secular, Maoist China, Pol Pot, and fucking Joseph Stalin would have looked like playgrounds if we were secular. Adolf Hitler would have looked like a fucking kiddie party. If we had no spiritual, like, higher being in the back of our mind, no feeling of right and wrong. Lack of moral objectivity objectively leads to genocide.
You're quite right to start where you do. It used to be believed, I mean, the number of gods now it's infinite, and a new god is created almost every day by some cult or other, but it used to be that there was a belief that gods were in the trees, in the woods, in the springs, in the sea, in the clouds, and so forth.
Okay, so this isn't wrong. People make gods out of things that they find either beautiful or terrifying, and they often have, like, stories to follow them. The Christian God specifically is not those things. There are things in there that humans, I won't say couldn't think up themselves, but over the course of about 3,000 to 1,500 years, I can't remember the time frame, it's marginally consistent. Completely consistent. There's zero inconsistencies that, when applied to context or translated to the original language, actually stand up. No human, no group of humans can actually maintain a single lie like that for 1,500 years while also having no inconsistencies. That is remarkably impossible. And if it was the case, it would lead to the downfall of nations, the destruction of civilizations as we know it, civilizations with an S on the end, and the downgrading of humanity entirely. The Bible specifically is either a phenomenon that has managed to outlive its own makers, which rarely ever happens, or has merit behind it. It has 3,000 to 1,500 years of consistent writing, written by 40 different authors across 66 books. I'm just saying, that doesn't apply here. The inconsistencies, the multiple gods thing, God is not a god of the springs or fire or water. Though he has those ideas under his manifestation, he is all of those things, but none of those things as his spirit. Those two things can be true at once.
Polytheism of a kind, then...
I believe in henotheism, by the way. If you don't know what that is, look that up. Henotheism. The ancient Jewish Bible is henotheistic, not monotheistic.
Something a bit more polytheistic, like Olympus, where there was at least a location for the divine, but it was multifaceted. And then
True.
Monotheism, getting it down to one. So I regard this as progress of a sort, because they're getting nearer the true figure all the time.
Wow, look at that. And you know what's crazy? Atheists argue from presupposition all the fucking time, and yet us Christians get flacked for arguing from presupposition. This is why I don't argue from presuppositional apologetics. I attack every claim as it comes exactly. I try not to argue from presuppositional apologetics. I'm still human. But atheists literally exclusively argue from presuppositional apologetics. There's no suspending of disbelief.
I actually...
Why shouldn't there be something? As you say, if there wasn't, then we wouldn't be here. But the question, why is there something rather than nothing? The origin of the something, the origin of the cosmos...
Has to come from something.
I suspect, an extremely simple event. And simple events are very simple to understand and explain. Once upon a time, not that long ago, a couple of centuries ago, the question would not have been, why is there something rather than nothing? The question would have been, why is there all this magnificent life Why are there trees? Why is there grass? Why are there birds? Why are there humans?
Okay.
Darwin answered that question and blew out of the water.
Okay, so I think that I can predict where this guy's going to go. That he says that because evolution exists, the Bible or religion is disproved. I think that, again, science is the tool that God uses in order to create the universe as we know it. And that concept is very simple. I believe in evolution. I believe in a 14 billion year universe. I believe that the majority of Genesis was actually poetic, as is the language that it's written in, Hebrew. So, when you apply that and you understand that Adam and Eve were likely descriptions for a single unicellular organism, the great common ancestor, and created all life, created all of humanity specifically, that's the road that it's following down, or it could be a little bit more poetic than that, then you can arrive at a conclusion where science and the Bible actually become really harmonious in ways that the Quran, the book of fucking whatever, all of Greek mythology, all of Norse mythology, all of Egyptian mythology, paganism, which is like weird neo-modern paganism now where nobody believes the same thing. It's just a fucking weird title that people wear. Those all fall in the face of a scientifically harmonious book that also acknowledges the existence of a scientifically outside being. Oh, sorry, my bad. Hold up. There we go.
The theistic answer to that question. Theists are now driven back to this much, much more simple question. Why is there something rather than nothing?
Because there had to be an uncreated something to create all of the somethings. There cannot be nothing. Nothing cannot create nothing. There was no universe outside of our own that did not apply to the laws of physics that created the laws of physics that we have. Nothing can break the laws of physics. Nothing can escape the rules that our universe sets in order to maintain its own balance. We have 7 natural rules, and not a single event can break those. Black holes extremify the laws of physics, but they do not break them.
Everything else is either explained or well on the way to being explained. We're left with just one little tiny smidgen of a gap in which God is alleged to be hiding.
That's an accusation of the God of the gaps. I think I just went through all of that and it's just destroyed now.
But even if you invoke a supernatural creator to explain why is there something rather than nothing, you still explain...
Okay, fine. If you want a scientific argument, it's because dark matter, a rapid expansion of dark matter deposits coming into a singular point created a rapid expansion, which somehow created all of the matter and energy that we see. And even if I give you that, nothing caused it because there was no energy or matter, so nothing could have caused that. There's nothing there. There's no starting event in which it is plausible that a being, I'll even suspend the being part, in which a force created the universe as we know it. The energy and matter that we see through Einstein's theory that nothing can be created or destroyed means that only one possibility, an origin, a mass origin, has to have taken place. Exclusively.
And absolutely nothing, because you're left without an explanation for that God himself.
Every second.
Okay, once you have this template that we just applied, then you can start applying understandings. This God, likely there are other beings before us. Therefore, this one has to be the highest. Whatever created our universe, or whatever one that we are following, right? You would want to follow the highest. So, consciousness, morality, love, ethics, ideas, those things cannot be explained by science or empiricism. Okay, empiricism destroys empiricism, I'm just saying. What created those? It can't be some just genetic evolution, because fish, animals, cows, they don't have any of those. They don't have reasoning, they don't have ethics or anything like that. You might argue dogs or something, but I'm talking about high reasoning, high complex reasoning. So, something makes us special. And you might think that it has something to do with our ability to learn or our ability to use tools. And yes, what provided those? The question gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller up until you arrive that there is no conclusion other than a singular force that managed to give us ethics, creativity, reason, morality, all at the same time, while also creating us all of these things that arrive. Scientifically, applying all of them together are fucking impossible. Next to impossible. There's nothing impossible. Given enough time, all things that can be done will be done. Murphy's Law. Really simple, right? 14 billion years isn't enough time for all of that to happen. Just saying. 14 billion years is not enough time for all of that to happen. 49 billion light years in diameter. 96 billion light years in diameter is not enough space for something this insane to happen. Okay? I think it's something to the power of something to the power of something light years away. There's an exact copy of me living a different life or something like that, or doing the exact same thing. That's so beyond what we already have right now. Okay?
We're speaking. A star the size of our sun or bigger goes out, blows up.
Correct.
Blows out. That's been the case every single second since the first moment of the Big Bang. It's a lot.
Well,
That'll be a lot of suns going out as we speak.
correct.
And there's a lot of annihilation, isn't it? There's a lot of destruction. It's a lot of what you might call almost a wasteful scale. It does have the positive outcome.
I'm sorry. You fucking tard. You actual idiot. Wasteful? Do you understand what the explosion of stars contributes to our universe? New fucking stars, okay? New stars. It's a cycle, bro. What are you talking about? When did this guy live? 1920... the year 12? Like, what?
We are all constituted of those materials. We are made of stardust.
Yes. Oh my gosh. You said something coherent for once. That is correct. We are all made from the dust of the earth. We are all made from the gas of the stars. Adam was created from the same stuff that the earth was made out of. That's the context of the Hebrew Bible. Just saying.
Now, I find that a rather more majestic...
Sorry, world, I
and
mean
wonderful,
entire world.
an even beautiful idea than, say, the idea of the burning bush. A bit more impressive.
Refers to an event recorded in the Jewish Torah as, oh my gosh, that's fucking poetic, you tard! Bro. I just love how atheists take stuff out of context and they think they're being smart. Just gotta love it. Just gotta really... It's literature. It's a book. It's a fucking book. It's not an encyclopedia, dude. It's a book that people used... Is it possible that Moses walked out and saw a burning tree or a burning bush and was talking to God in his head while looking at that bush? And that is what he used to symbolize that he was talking to God? That wouldn't be a lie. That would be symbolic language. There's an important distinction. You're not being smart.
It gives you more to think about.
Are they mutually exclusive? Are they mutually exclusive? Did God make you a stardust?
One has the virtue of being true and provable and studyable, which the other doesn't. And I do.
Empiricism destroys empiricism. You cannot prove empiricism with empiricism. That's just fucking stupid. The ability for atheists to change their frameworks every 5 seconds rather than sticking to a single one, and then encounter a Christian like me who doesn't change his framework at all, but actually says, hey, atheist, your framework destroys your own argument and it's logically incoherent. To crumple under that, just to have your worldview just pushed over at the slight sign of stress is just beautiful.
I think that the verifiability of something is a virtue of
Are we
kind.
simply material then?
Yes, we don't have bodies, we are bodies. Until 50,000 years ago, there were...
No, that's just wrong. That's just scientifically wrong. We are not bodies. We are inside of our bodies, and we have them. We're wearing a fucking meat mech, okay? That's just incorrect. You just lied, bro. We are not exclusively material. If that was true, consciousness, morality, love, spirituality, ethics, they wouldn't fucking exist.
4 other kinds of biped, humanoid, not unlike us, still living on the planet, died leaving no descendants. We're the only survivors.
That's not true. Neanderthals left plenty of descendants.
Of those people, that family, we don't know if they had gods or not.
So you think
Certainly
inexplicable?
no religion ever invented appears to have known...
They did have gods, I would imagine, that they worshipped things because Neanderthals were just as smart as humans, and they fucking... You know what? Explain this, dipshit. How about this? Explain why a border collie doesn't worship stuff. It has the intelligence of a 4-year-old child. Explain why an octopus doesn't worship stuff. Do that. Just explain that, please, because I promise you Neanderthals had gods. I can almost fucking guarantee it, because they're a part of human race. They were a part of the human, like me and you, race. Therefore, they will follow the same consistent logic and ideas that us as Homo sapiens had.
These creatures even existed because the religious are forced to believe that the only really significant event that happened in the human story happened about 3,000 years ago.
Do you think there could be
The fuck are you
one
talking about?
sentence that could convince, let's say, a creationist to seriously doubt their theory? Ideally, if you could convince a believer in God to really doubt their belief, but that's too hard.
Not sure about a sentence. I think perhaps the single most convincing fact, observation that I want to would be the pattern of resemblances that you see when you compare the genes using modern DNA techniques, actually looking at the letter-to-letter correspondences between genes.
Okay.
Compare the genes of any pair of animals you like, pair of animals, pair of plants, and then plot out the resemblances, and they fall on a perfect hierarchy, a perfect family tree. And the only alternative to it being a family tree is that the intelligent designer deliberately set out to deceive us.
Oh, you fucking dumbass, bitch-ass motherfucker. You fucking... Bro. Demonizing God while also minimizing the power of God. Okay, wow. So how am I going to address this? I'm just going to say the same shit that I said before. Science is the tool that God uses in order to create the universe. It's not a God of the gap arguments. It's actually one of the hardest arguments for atheists to defeat because it looks like a God of the gaps argument, but in reality, it actually explains the scientific basis in which you try to use to explain God. The variations in our genome is a consequence of evolution, okay? It is a consequence of evolution.
In the most underhand and devious manner. Moreover, the same thing works with every gene you do separately, and even pseudogenes that don't do anything but are vestigial relics of genes that once...
I don't know anything about genes.
I find it extremely hard to imagine how any creationist who actually bothered to listen to that could possibly doubt the fact of evolution.
But you know what? I'm actually on his side about that. I fucking hate creationists. Okay? So, if you guys don't know a whole lot about me, I'm a Christian who commonly stands against Christians and atheists and Muslims. I stand against everybody when it comes to the Bible. Because almost everybody, nowadays, pushes a Bible that doesn't make any sense. I've spent my life listening to scholars, reading Hebrew, reading the ancient Greek, the Koine Greek, and the Aramaic of the Bible. I've spent my life studying this stuff and trying to apply it so that I can make some use out of it. And the creationists contradict themselves scientifically. The naturalists contradict themselves spiritually. And the Scientologists, I can't say scientists, the scientismists contradict themselves in fucking everything they try to do to disprove God. So there's nobody that's right nowadays. Besides a very select few people who are correct in most things that they say, we need to... Hold on. We're back. This is my brother Chance. Say hi, Chance.
Hi.
That's the camera right there.
Hi, camera.
Yeah, hi, camera. Okay, so we're gonna finish up this video. So this video is people trying to debunk God and all of that stuff.
Okay.
And these are really famous people. Okay, these are really famous like atheists.
Okay.
Classic atheists. Let's see what this guy has to say. This guy's a goober.
I call bullshit.
Yeah, that's okay. I hope there's not gonna be any too much echo on my video here. I messed up. I didn't turn the thing on. So what do you think so far, Chance? You notice anything wrong in there?
He's bullshitting.
Okay.
Bullshit.
Why? You can't just say somebody's bullshitting.
You can't bullshit.
Why is he bullshitting?
I don't know.
You can't just say that he's bullshitting. That's not honest.
Okay, fair point.
Use your brain. Come on.
Okay.
Why is he bullshitting?
I don't know. I haven't seen half the video.
That's true. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think that he's saying anything necessarily wrong. People do just stick their hands in their ears and go la 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 whenever you try to like contradict them.
Yeah, it's true.
But like you can't just apply that to everybody because atheists do the exact same fucking thing.
True.
Like you're just like, hey, this is the second law of thermodynamics, and it kind of just disproves the idea that there is no God. And then they're like, what? What? I can't hear you!
What?
So I accidentally disconnected my TV audio.
Really relevant because what they do is simply stick their fingers in there, and that even, I mean, as a peer said, if all the evidence in the universe pointed towards an old Earth, I would be the first to admit it, but I would still be a young Earth creationist.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! A guy with a PhD happens to be a fucking tard? You don't say! Goodness gracious! Okay, so what he's saying is, even if every evidence in the universe pointed to a 6,000-year-old, or sorry, a 14 billion-year-old Earth, he would still believe in a 6,000-year-old Earth. There are Christians out there that believe that the Earth is like 6,000 years old.
Okay, that makes more sense.
You know what that means?
It means you're retarded.
What that means is that the Bible was made halfway through the Earth's existence. It was made 3,000 years ago.
Oh. Huh. Okay.
That means ancient Egypt didn't happen. Yeah.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, that means that the Egyptians didn't build the pyramids, guys. It was the aliens.
That is what Holy Scripture teaches me. You cannot argue with a mind like that. A mind like that,
No,
it
that's
seems
true.
to me,
You can't argue with
is,
somebody that's...
well, a disgrace.
You can't argue with somebody that's stuck in their beliefs.
Yeah, it's true. There's no point.
Atheists are stuck in their beliefs.
I know.
Just to let you know.
Disgrace to the human species.
A disgrace to the human species. Love it.
You're right that science has made many things more comprehensible to us, and it's explained things that religion used to take credit for. In other words, now we know there's a germ.
That's funny. How much do you think religion was used to take credit for science?
Not a lot.
You don't think a lot?
I don't think a lot.
What about volcanoes? You know, people worship volcanoes, right?
Yeah.
Tsunamis. They worship tsunamis, the ocean, the sun. That's a lot. That's not wrong, but it doesn't disprove religion. It just goes to show, like, humans naturally worship stuff. People naturally worship things, and that's just kind of like a thing.
Theory of disease. Diseases are not
Anything to say?
curses or revenges from heaven. Same with earthquakes and so on. The stuff
That's my
they used
brother,
to
by
teach
the
us,
way.
and many of them still do, is nonsense. Evil nonsense as well as ignorant nonsense. But it's also taught us
Evil? Sorry, did you just say evil? Hey, Chance. Do you know what the USSR, Mao, China, Pol Pot, I can't remember, Cambodia, all have in common?
Evil.
Yeah, they killed
Hitler.
close to 100 million people. No, Hitler was he was like some weird Catholic or something like that. You know what? We can still apply that.
He
All
was
of those,
Jewish,
do you know
though,
what they
wasn't
all have in common though? They were all atheistic countries.
Oh.
Yeah, they were all built on the back of atheism. And also, you know what else is funny about atheism?
Huh.
It doesn't believe, a true atheist doesn't believe in moral objectivity, which means the concept of good and evil doesn't exist. So that's why it creates stuff like that. So this guy just talked about evil as an atheist. I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty funny. I don't think
my lifetime,
I think
an
atheists should be
enormous
talking about
amount
evil.
more about how little we know. We're much, much more ignorant than people who lived before Galileo. We just because we have now an increasingly large idea of the fantastic expanse of the unknown. That's precisely the moment at which to say that skepticism is what's necessary. Inquiry, debate, doubt. Where's faith in
That's
this?
what I'm
Where's the
doing.
usefulness
That's what I'm
of
doing right
faith
here.
there?
Me, I'm doing
There's no
that.
use to it at
I'm
all.
being skeptical, I'm inquiring, I'm debating, and I'm doubting, and you're still stupid. You're still stupid. Oh my gosh. Yeah, still wrong. Yeah, remarkably though. The fact that people can get so famous, I mean, look at that fucking suit that guy is wearing. Why can't I get famous?
Exactly.
Right?
Socrates, who, as far as I know, existed but may well not have done. It doesn't matter to me. No one will insult me if they say, Socrates, your great hero, didn't exist. Try it on a Muslim, try it on a Christian. Their prophets didn't exist. Or tell people that Moses is a myth. They start hurling themselves about, making menacing noises very often.
Did he just say Moses didn't exist?
Yeah. He said it was a myth. Yes, Jesus talked about Moses extensively, referring to him as a key figure in the Jewish scripture, who wrote about Jesus and even
conversed with him during his
Okay.
transfiguration, where they discussed Jesus' coming Exodus, fulfilling law and prophets. Jesus affirmed Moses' writings, saying if people believed Moses, they would believe him, as Moses' words pointed to Jesus' coming.
Jesus is coming, meaning the rapture, right?
No, that's the second coming that we're talking about. The first coming. We're talking about the first arrival, the first incarnation.
I didn't know
So-
if you were talking about the first one or the second one.
Horrible example from this guy. So Moses wrote about Jesus. I mean, obviously, it must have been a ghostwriter, right? Yeah, it had to have been a ghostwriter. It couldn't have been Moses. No, Occam's razor. Fuck that. The simplest explanation is always the wrong one.
Yeah.
Right? Moses didn't exist. You know what? Fuck it. Jesus didn't even exist, even though it's scientifically proven. John didn't exist. Mary didn't exist. Fuck it. Adam didn't exist. Why not? Screw it. Why not?
Socrates said you're only educated when you've understood how ignorant you are. And you're only going to even find that out by doubting everything all the time. There's all the difference
I'm doubting
in the
everything you
world
say.
between that attitude and that mentality.
Now-
And the mentality of faith. And second, on
Better be wearing a shirt on.
metaphysics,
Yeah.
which I noticed take refuge in several times already this evening. Like, what is love?
Yeah,
Is something
explain it.
poetic or is it prosaic?
Explain love. Explain love, Mr. Atheist Man. Mr. Scientific Genius, Ultimate Supernatural Supreme Atheist Man. I'd love to hear an atheist explain love. What is it? What do you think love is, Chance?
Love is when you have feelings for somebody that you don't get from hating them, etc., etc., etc. When you deeply care about somebody.
Well, you're not wrong, but that's not what I meant. Not really what I meant. People would say that love is a result of a bunch of chemical combinations acting over the long course,
See,
like a long course of time, which is serotonin and oxytocin, which I don't
See, I'm a dumbass. I wouldn't have said that.
I don't disagree. Yeah. I'm joking. But so my consensus is that my idea is that science is actually the tool that God uses in order to create the universe and the world as we know it, right? So love is both a chemical idea and a spiritual idea. Without the chemicals that we would need in order to love, we wouldn't have it. And also, there's people out there, like people with depression, people with
Anxiety.
I wouldn't say anxiety. People with, I'd say, schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorders, psychopaths,
Yeah.
that don't respond to those chemicals in the same way, but can still feel capable of love. They are still capable of love, right? So just because those chemicals aren't as present, it doesn't affect everybody the same way. And I would argue that the variation of us is actually what makes us unique as people, which science says from an origin point, which is the greatest common ancestor, which is like the microbial being that existed where we all come from, everything should be without variation. There are 3 types of planets. There's terrestrial planets, gas giants, and ice giants, right?
Yeah.
There's 0 variation between all of those and stars as well. But on a smaller scale, where less things are acting, there is wild variation. Like, me and him were brothers by blood, half-brothers by blood. I have really dark brown hair, and he has really light, funny-looking, dirty blonde hair.
Fuck you.
Okay, bud. All right. I'll beat your ass after this video.
Do it.
So I don't know that a single scientist can explain why galaxies, stars, planets, they all have the same lineup of things with very little variation, or sometimes none at all. But us, who have less material, have complete variation. Nobody looks the same, exactly the same, from 100 years ago to 1,000,000 years ago, and so on and so forth. There's no ancestor that I have that looks exactly like me unless we're twins.
Yeah.
So there's and even then, twins have variation. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Oh.
Very good questions, but metaphysical ones. Those who say God exists and intervenes in the world, in other words, those who say there is a religious God, the God of religion, are saying that redemption is on offer to human beings, that salvation is on offer to them, and that if they reject the offer, they can be in really big trouble. Now, don't start talking to an audience like this, or, if you don't mind, to a debate partner like me, as if religion was a private matter, because everybody knows that if it was, there wouldn't be anything to argue about. It's precisely because it claims to be a complete solution to all problems, available on pain of death, sometimes, in some forms, but available to you if you'll only have enough faith. Well, we've just found out that faith is probably the most overrated of the virtues and the one least useful to us in the real dilemmas that we actually have to face.
Wow. Okay. So what do you think? What do you think about what he just said? Do you understand what he just said? Because it's a lot.
My brain's still processing it, so you just explain
So
it.
I think he said that faith is like one of the greatest virtues one of the least virtues that we could ever have. What do you think about that?
Bullshit.
Why?
I'm trying to think of
You should have had a reason when you said bullshit. I will always ask you why.
Okay, fair point.
Just because we believe like the same stuff don't mean I'm not going to challenge you on it. Why?
I don't know.
Want to know what I think?
Yeah.
I think faith specifically is actually the highest virtue that you could ever have. And it's not faith as in like believing in God. It's faith as in believing. It's faith as in trusting in the thing that you put above yourself, right? Exemplifying something above yourself and trusting alone in that is faith. And the reason we have faith in God is because we trust that God is going to give us something that we don't deserve. So there's 3 ideas. There's mercy, which is sparing us from something that we do deserve,
Yeah.
justice, giving us something that we do deserve, and grace, giving us something that we don't deserve. God, as believers, give us grace and mercy, and to unbelievers, he brings justice. Or, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily hell is just, is the ultimate justice. So the idea of hell is ultimate separation from God, right?
Yeah.
Bro, Chance, if I loved you and you did not want to ever hang out with me, do you think I would make you hang out with me?
No.
So why would God, who has made us in his image, do the same thing? That's justice. You go your entire life not wanting to be with God, and then you die, and then you say, oh my gosh, I spent my entire life not wanting to be with you, now I do. There's no faith there.
Yeah.
Because you have proof.
Mm-hmm.
Faith is something that you can't see. So if your girlfriend goes out to a club or something like that, and you think that she's going to be cheating on you, you're going to call her 1,000,000 fucking times.
Yeah.
But if you trust her, which is faith, if you trust her, you're not going to call her once. Besides maybe a text, hey baby, how you doing? What's up, short cake?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But that's it. Faith is actually the highest virtue that you can have. Right above sacrifice. Because without faith, you wouldn't be using any virtues. You wouldn't. If you don't trust somebody, you can't provide a virtue to them. If I don't trust you, I'm not doing shit for you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. This was actually kind of ridiculous. I spent 3 minutes for every minute in this video. 4 minutes for every minute in this video, because that's how actually ridiculous it was. So yeah, do me a favor, drop a like, and if you want to see more of my ass, subscribe, and Chance.
Peace.
What?
Peace.
The camera's right there.
Peace.